Hey, maggots. It's me, MALDROS the Dark. This episode was made possible by those filthy patrons: Corey Pfautsch, J.D. Rose, Daniel Nichols, Hayley Muñoz, Brian Dowling, Stormy Cone, Joleen Fresquez, and Rori Christenson. You can join these cretins at patreon.com/DicetowerTheater, or just simply threaten someone you know. Last episode ended with some weak blood named Zorin crying about his sad life. Boo-hoo. Now join me for some real entertainment as we say goodbye to those in the arena as they die. Dawn of Dragons, Season 4, Episode 5, Part 2.
You promised me a dance, or at least a nice dinner, not Ettercaps.
No, I didn't. You know I can't afford that. But I hope for something better than this. At least one of those stale cakes back at home they would put outside for the beggars. Only the best.
Sophie laughed to herself slightly. She was trying to find joy in the situation as she pulled her sword out of the dead body of the bloated humanoid creature. Its wicked, spider-like mandibles twitched slightly, even in death. The crowd chanted above Sophie in the arena. Hers was the first battle of the day. Ettercaps were wicked things, she remarked, always looking to ensnare their opponent with webs, like a spider, like those giant spiders in the underworld. She shuddered.
Ugh.
She thought back to how she was rudely awakened on the second day of the games. A swift kick to the ribs, she had noted. While every fiber of her being told to fight back against her captors, Zane's calm voice kept her in check.
Well, wait, Sophie. Please, just wait. Our time will come.
She was fed a soupy bowl of flavorless pasty gruel, alongside many fellow gladiators, now including the silent ERALIN, who sat across from her, mindlessly stirring the gruel with an iron-bound hand. She noted everyone's head was down too. Quiet. Skotmir and his brother weren't in their cell when she woke, or at the table. She was called to the arena first, making her ascent up the stone ramp alone, save a guard opening the iron gate. And she was met with a cascade of boos from the many members of the audience. Her audience now, though she didn't want them.
You have to play them. The show has to win for you to win. We have to win to survive. You got this.
Okay, fine. Who's next?
She wants more, my good people of Elric. Here to finish her off is a favorite of yours and mine, the legendary, even Dragonheart.
Wait, who?
The gate to the ramp opened and out strode a warrior in sparse green and black armor over a dark riveted chainmail hauberk. It covered the thighs, the right shin, and a single left shoulder. His helm was a simple blackened steel sallet sitting over a chainmail coif, a single slit allowing his eyes to see, but leaving his sneering smile exposed.
Well, hello, Eben.
Friend of yours?
Oh, we go way back. Watch his sword. The guy likes to poison his blade and paralyze his playmates. Wait, is MALDROS watching?
Sophie saw the shadow-like form of the legendary horned gladiator standing, gauze-covered arms crossed, and two blood-red eyes staring out from behind the blackened helmet. Unnerving and intentionally staring at her, analyzing every move.
Oh, yes.
Strike Eben with a spear toss first. Then don't use your sword. Use my daggers.
Okay, but wait. Yes.
Let's send a message.
Sophie thought of how MALDROS had tortured and twisted ZANE. Years they spent alone and away from each other. But now they were together and whole. No force in this world or the next could pull them apart now. His vengeance on the man who kept them apart was also hers.
Yes. Let's.
Sophie picked up a spear from the arena floor and threw it at the charging warrior. He swatted it aside with his armored arm missing the mark. He continued charging forward with his sword, swinging wildly at her as she stepped out of the way in a swift, graceful motion, swatting upward with the sword's crossguard and fingers beneath. Startled, he missed with such momentum that the weapon flew out of his hands. Sophie began to attack him with ZANE's dagger. 6 quick slices, causing him to lose blood at a rapid pace.
Those daggers! Impossible!
He drew a hand axe, striking at her midsection. He missed as he stumbled, blood soaking the chainmail across his chest, where the links had separated from the blows.
Yield or die!
But Sophie lost her footing and failed to land a hit. Her moment of weakness opened up the opportunity for her opponent to grab his sword and hit Sophie with 2 strong swings, cutting deep. She felt a numbing creep along her arm from the blows.
Poison! Sorry, ZANE. It's my turn now.
Knowing she had moments to fight against the poison before she would be rendered helpless, she entered a panicked rage, dropping the daggers and pulling out her longsword. She swung weakly once, and Eben dodged. Using the force of the swing, she brought the sword back around and over quickly, landing her hit with a sickening thud into the top of the fighter's helmet, splitting it to the visor. The crowd went wild, and the body of the great Eben Dragonheart slumped to the ground.
This victory feels hollow and makes me want to puke. How can they cheer such needless death?
I know. I feel the same as you. Come on, let's go.
MALDROS watched on. After regaining ZANE's blades, Sophie turned to the edge of the darkened sand of the blood pit in which she stood, and saw him staring at her intently. She looked down at the daggers in her hands, and then smiled at MALDROS. She stood straight and held them aloft in the air in victory, spinning them across her palms before bowing. A move she felt she had done before, in a different life, at least.
Your victor, Sophie!
Sophie walked off the field with the crowd chanting behind her. The sand looked blood-red from the thick, dark crimson and black-colored clouds of Enruk. She passed the now open iron gate and walked a few paces down the stone ramp towards her cold, dark cell. Away from all of this.
Sophie.
She could not pretend that this man did not scare her to her core. As he grabbed her and began to verbally assault her face, ZANE's voice filled her head, blocking out the sharp words and reassuring her.
I'm here. Don't let him intimidate you. He scares everyone, but he's nothing. Nothing but an angry slaver, Sophie. He's scum.
Tell me one thing, maggot. Where did you get those blades?
They're mine.
Oh, now they are. I knew their owner once, and it's not you. At least... it matters not. Sleep well, and...
MALDROS leered from behind the dark helmet before storming away.
You'll die well, maggot. You will die well.
Zorin remarked on the second night that it seemed easier to move around with less guards, and he smiled to himself. There was a network of tunnels that seemed to be largely ignored throughout the facility, ancient pathways built by the original kobolds for some purpose, but not used by the larger humanoids who would need to stoop in many cases to use them. One was actually right at the entrance to the arena.
If we time it just right, and if we can get rid of the 2 guards, we could slip into the shadows and escape this hellhole.
He was hiding behind a crate and able to see Sophie, Skotmir, and THOTMIR's cells behind 2 orc guards in dark, rough-forged iron armor. There was only one way in, and there was nothing to hide behind. Besides, he didn't even know where they had the key.
Can't do anything tonight. I'm sorry, my friends. But tomorrow, I promise tomorrow we will escape.
He whispered an apology under his breath as he dipped into the officers' area once again. After all, they had a mission. Find out what Pallas had planned or was planning. He returned to the unmarked war room. Digging in tomes, he found a collection of loose pages, notes of some sort. These appeared to be an index for the wall of tomes. One caught his eye.
Research. Una.
He thumbed through the old dusty pages. They described various experiments testing clairvoyance. Page after page filled with dry data points and tables. Frustrated, he went to close it but saw something sticking out just inside the back cover.
Huh. Some old note. She's a seer, supposedly able to predict events of the future in strange visions. The rest of Amberreach are like dogs. That seems appropriate for what Ash has done. She and Dekion are both amazing and horrifying to see work with each other. Huh.
He folded the paper back up and placed the tome back on the shelf. He returned to the map filled with markers at various locations. Looking at the marker on the nether spring, he saw a number 6. Looking on the edge of the map, he found reference.
Operation Bluefire. Wait. That was in that index. Yeah, let's see. Here it is. There's an artifact deep in the Nether Springs ruins from before the destruction of the stone. Legend claims it can destroy an entire army, but be wielded in a single hand. There's supposedly an ancient portal there that can only be opened by someone of the original bloodline, whatever that means. The prophecy states that this person will travel with 2 pairs, 2 lost souls from the sea who are actually 2 halves of the same coin. Also 2 brothers by marriage joined from a common tragedy. Sounds ridiculous, but Lord Pallas and Dekion are convinced we can just force it open with the right tools, or ritual. He's one of the few that has never been there, so he could be right. We need to get there first. But Garnet Keep is likely his first target.
Feeling confident this is the plan that they came for, he quickly took note of it and slipped into the shadows, preparing for the next day.
The sun must be high. It's already a long day, my brother.
The brothers stood side by side in the red arena, looking up past the far bleachers to the sky itself. The dark clouds, separated by cracks of deep red and orange, were menacing. But now, they had become accustomed to the gloomy sky. They saw it for something else entirely. ebbing and flowing like the bellows of a great forge. It was creation itself. It was freedom.
Did you see your friend this morning? Yes. She was right behind us on the ramp. Oh. That banshee scrambled my memory as well, I think.
The dwarven sons of the guarded mountains are back, folks, and today they will be facing one of Dickyon's finest apparitions, formless and angry.
Back at the gate, Sophie watched the brothers prepare for battle. She glanced at the chalkboard.
We aren't on for 3 more matches. Good.
Those not fighting should return to the mess hall for rest.
No. I want to watch this match.
Oh, that's your little friends, aren't they?
Sophie glared daggers of warning at the guard from behind her dirty, matted blonde locks. The other 8 gladiators made their way down to the mess hall. Thinking better of taking any action against the 2 orcs guarding the gate, she turned back to the arena while leaning on the iron gate with both hands. They didn't notice her position, with her hands around her face, to hide the welling tears.
Yes.
Leave her, Calvin. Let's go get some food too, eh? Not like she can go anywhere.
Yeah, see you later, girly.
And then Sophie was alone. She drew in a deep sigh as she pressed her head against the cold iron bars, losing herself in their touch. Time slowed for a moment as a tear rolled down her cheek. She couldn't help her chosen brother on the arena floor. She couldn't help Skotmir. She looked at her dirty hands.
Some good you are right now.
She felt the faded threads of the friendship bracelet on her wrist, absently fidgeting with it. She lost herself in a fond memory of Cordelia giving it to her when they were children.
I'm with you.
Promising to always be with her, Sophie had never removed it.
Hope you are better off than us right now. Miss you.
Hey.
What? Zorin?
Yeah, over here, but don't draw attention to me. Look, there's a tunnel back here in the shadows. It's not very high, probably for the kobolds, but I haven't seen anyone use it. When they come off the field, we're going to duck out through it.
Sophie's heart soared. Freedom was here at last. And again, just as it did in the Drow prison, Zorin was here to help. She heard footsteps coming up the ramp. Turning, she saw the form of ERALIN walking alone up the ramp. He approached the gate next to her and stood silent.
Hey.
Hello.
Got a surprise for ya.
Oh? What's that?
Me, tall and ugly.
Zorin?
Who saw you come up?
No one.
You sure?
Yes. Now that I've returned to being a dragon again, I can tell. They will be down there for a while. They have no interest in me as a gladiator. I believe they will try to capture my soul in that sword again.
Ow! A colossal hit! His axe was shattered by the force of the lightning strike, folks. He's not moving!
Sophie snapped back to the arena. She saw the ghostly form of some armored wraith circling the 2 brothers, but now Skotmir stood over the crumpled form of THOTMIR, his axe held high in his hands.
No! You will be destroyed, demon!
Skotmir swiped 3 times, connecting with the shrieking blue and white wisps that made up the form of the creature. Its face curled back in a scream as it disappeared. Sophie turned to ERALIN, but he was already gone.
Come on, let's get ready. ERALIN's probably halfway home by now.
The gate ascended. as Skotmir walked in carrying the unconscious form of his brother over one shoulder.
Hold on, THOTMIR.
Skotmir, over here, quickly.
What? Zorin?
Yes, there's no time. We are escaping.
Skotmir started towards the dark recess next to the gate when he heard voices coming from down the ramp.
No. I'm sorry.
What? Why? Come on!
THOTMIR won't make it. We'll have to find our own way out.
No. Please.
We will slow you down. Go! We will meet again someday. But I have to do this. He came back for me.
Sophie knew this was goodbye. She stepped from the shadows briefly to embrace Skotmir, her chosen brother.
He did. He did. I love you. My brother.
Forever and always the stone. You and I, Sophie. Forever and always. I will be your brother.
Here.
Sophie slipped a small coin into Skotmir's pocket.
Still owe you that drink.
Goodbye, pal.
Skotmir nodded and continued down the ramp as his friends plunged into the darkness below Elric. Knowing in his heart they probably would not meet again in this life, but hoping he was wrong. It only took an hour for them to stumble across a few of the Shadowclaws, who happily showed them the way out to the north, setting them on the path back to Garnet Keep, which was a week or so away. After 2 days' travel, they had set up camp at the foot of the Garnet Mountains and seemed to be very close to the waterfall that shrouded Smuggler's Path. Zorin was cooking some venison that ERALIN had hunted on the way.
This is going to be the finest dining.
Oh, really?
I always paid attention to Eleviv's cooking.
Right, through your stomach, you mean?
That's the best way to learn.
Well, it smells good.
Really?
Yes.
Well, thanks.
Hello?
Stepping out of the shadows into the campfire light was a familiar face, dirty and mud-soaked from the road, but so were they.
ISENATHA?
Sophie!
ISENATHA ran to embrace Sophie tightly.
We thought you all died in the fireball, but I knew. Just knew you were okay. I'm so happy I found you. Do you mind?
What? Oh, of course. Sit down and prepare for a taste sensation. Well, that's what Una would say.
No, she wouldn't!
Really? Huh, well... Wait, where is Una? And everyone, ISENATHA?
Yeah, and are they behind you, or...?
Fear gripped Sophie's heart as she saw ISENATHA's worried face.
They were escaping the temple underground through the heart of the volcano when it collapsed.
No. Are they gone?
No! At least, I don't think so. I believe they escaped. What about Skotmir?
Sophie sadly shook her head.
He's still trapped in the prison below the arena. Zorin got separated from Benedict and Dabria too.
Yeah. They disappeared after the first day when I got trapped. Never saw them again in the stands either. Hope they didn't get caught elsewhere. Not like Goody Two-Shoes to disappear if he knows his friends need him.
Well, let's not give up hope.
Yes. Let's not.
The next day, their return to Garnet Keep was a syrupy dream. They came to the same crossroads where they had all parted ways once before, when they were last all together. They stood there for a moment, and ERALIN told them of his intention to return to the sea.
Oh, are you leaving us? I thought...
I'm not surprised. Well, say hi to her for me. And take care of yourself, ERALIN.
ERALIN stared at him awkwardly for a moment before nodding as he turned away. Holding onto the memory of the young mariner silently was his way of bidding them all goodbye as he turned his path towards Whitford. Sophie didn't believe it felt real. Here was home in front of her. Her friends Keldor and Elric gave her hugs and greeting, and ZANE's mother kissed both her cheeks. Her heart was locked in place, though, unable to free itself to soar and fly as she had expected. Slipping into the shadows of the celebration, she made her way quickly to her room. And sitting on the edge of her soft bed, she allowed the boiling emotion to surface. Thinking of brave little Skotmir, she cradled her face in her hands and cried.
In this episode, Sophie, Sarah Jenkins, Skotmir, Colten Janssenn, ZANE and THOTMIR, Storm S. Cone, Zorin, Cody Miller, ERALIN, Jordan Thompson, ISENATHA, Hayley Muñoz, the announcer, Joshua Thomas, Ibn DRAGONHEART, Elric Atchison, Guard, Ryan VanDeKamp, KEHLVAN, Scott Blankfield, the BLOODPIT crowd, the Dice Tower Theater gamers, MALDROS the Dark, and Keldor the narrator, Mike Atchley. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Dice Tower Theater's Dawn of Dragons. Please join us in thanking our magnificent cast for their performance, and their full list can be found in the show notes. If you would like a sticker from our show, please leave a review on any podcasting platform and send a screenshot to dm@dicetowertheater.com with a mailing address we can send it to. In the next episode, will the group finally be reunited? And who will be brave enough to retrieve the artifact before Lord Pallas and Dekion at the shadow-clad and forgotten Netherspring? Until then, fellow adventurers, stay safe. And remember the oath.